Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back.
The foundations for the modern European Union, envisioned by the Schuman Declaration, sought to prevent conflict between individual states in the heart of Europe by binding them to a common economic and political good. Today, we are challenged to resolve how this large and culturally diverse union ought to deal with conflict on its periphery as a united actor.
The three successive phases of our plan, transatlantic alignment, diplomatic engagement, and humanitarian infrastructure, will build upon one another to work towards a negotiated ceasefire in Donbass, followed by a period of reconstruction to promote Ukrainian autonomy.
Hello, my name is Karin Olofsdotter. I'm the Swedish ambassador. Thank you very much for a very, very interesting and good presentation. Do you think it's enough, the Nord Stream 2, to get the Russians to the table?
In response to the point about Nord Stream 2, part of Russia's grander strategy so far in interfering and creating mistrust and division between European states and the United States, this has been a huge linchpin in that. So I believe that if we were able to unify our position on Nord Stream 2, that this would go a long way.
You use some wonderful words to gloss over a few important questions, like all sides would be participants in this peacekeeping mission. Who do you think that is?
I don't think that Russia would allow peacekeepers in any capacity. They haven't shown that in the past in their conflicts in Transnistria and Abkhazia. When I say all sides, I mean Russia, Ukraine, and the Donbas separatists. But I also think, as I mentioned, that a UN special representative should be sent in, as has been effective for establishing the Libya ceasefire so far. Our goal in all of this is alleviating human suffering and stopping the conflict.
Achieving a stable settlement in the Ukrainian crisis requires addressing three broad challenges. First, the Putin government has repeatedly revealed itself as unwilling to deal in good faith, undercutting international norms and covertly working to undermine Ukrainian and Western solidarity. Second, EU and transatlantic solidarity is severely limited by internal disagreement, so-called Ukraine fatigue, and the direct effects of the aforementioned information war. Third, and most critically, the Ukrainian government lacks the political will to make essential domestic reforms and fulfill the terms of its obligations. We propose a series of precisely targeted initiatives to simultaneously target each of these obstacles.
Thank you very much for an excellent and well-researched presentation. What I find missing is what this then does to bring about a settlement. What is your assessment of Russia's motivation in this that would mean that this would end up getting them to the table to address the fundamental problems?
When we were considering the challenge, we looked to historical precedent. For example, the non-recognition of the United States of the annexation of the Baltic states following World War II. And we believe that, realistically, considering Russian perceptions about claims and legitimacy specifically to the territory of Crimea, which is critical to Ukraine's sovereignty and its internationally recognized borders, that short-term gains to be able to solve this issue is not possible. We have to wait it out for the long run until we see a regime change in Russia. Therefore, the sanctions' purpose is to apply pressure, but also to keep them sustainable for a long time.
I appreciate the level of detail in terms of Russian hybrid and warfare techniques. It's refreshing. Item B, number 1, is impose targeted sanctions on Russian entities in the Black Sea. Did I understand correctly that that involves denial of port access to Russian vessels?
Yes, so that does include denial of domestic port access within the EU from ships originating in Black Sea ports, Russian ships.
Who exactly would enforce that?
It would have to depend on the political will for scale of implementation. At the moment, we would envision that that would be done by the current Coast Guards of the member states, but it would depend on the level of implementation.
It's been such an honor to be included as a judge in this incredible setting. You all judging from the presentations I heard today. I wish I'd heard the ones in the first round. I mean, this is the depth of understanding, the depth of research. I'm really, really impressed by it. And, these are skills that would take you far as a journalist, but I think you should set your sights higher and be diplomats instead.
I have been covering this conflict since 2014, and there's a lot of people that have Ukraine fatigue, but I really appreciate the fact that all of you here took time to wrestle with an incredibly difficult problem, and you did so earnestly. It's very reassuring for me as someone that covers this space to know that there's so many really smart people that are bringing the full weight of their intellect to an incredibly difficult problem. I have absolutely the greatest respect for both of these teams.
Look, they were two excellent presentations. A lot of work went into it. It was very obvious. West Virginia made a very good presentation on the kind of traditional diplomatic tools and trying to work maybe within the framework of what's there. William and Mary took a slightly more backward step, saying, we need to kind of change the strategy here and be tougher. It was a tough discussion between us, but on balance, we felt that the team that convinced us most was William and Mary, so congratulations. All right.